I'm Elise and welcome to the Baby Bunting Live Series, Season 2, Episode 3. Being a parent or becoming a parent is both exciting and challenging journey. Perinatal mental illnesses like anxiety and depression are more common than many realise, affecting 1 in 5 mums and 1 in 10 dads. Left untreated, perinatal mental illness can have a long-lasting impacts on parents, partners, baby and the rest of the family. To raise awareness of Panda, tonight we're speaking with Julie, the CEO of Panda. So thank you so much for coming down tonight. And if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background information on Panda and yourself.
Sure, Elise. Thanks so much for having me. Hi, everybody. It's such an important topic that we're speaking about tonight, especially in mind of COVID and everything that we've been going through. But as you said, what's Panda? So Panda's an amazing organisation. We stand for Perinatal Anxiety and Depression Australia. And we're an organisation that's nationally funded. We work for everybody in the country. We provide a free national helpline to new and expecting parents, so people who are pregnant, people who are in that first part of their journey, and people who have a bub within the first 12 months of baby's life. We deliver a range of resources to health professionals. We do training and education, and more importantly, we do advocacy and awareness. So we're all about trying to increase people's understanding of what perinatal vulnerability is, how to look after your health and well-being, especially that of your mind during that period, and just generally try to amplify the voice of the fact that it's not always roses for people in the perinatal space.
And I guess that's it. We're here to help you and you're there to support everybody on their journey. And that's the most, I think, amazing gift that you can give to somebody, just to be there.
Yeah, thank you.
So how common is it for expecting and new mums and dads to actually suffer from an illness?
Yeah. So we know that within Australia about 1 in 5 mums and 1 in 10 dads experience perinatal anxiety and depression, and I would say that's generally. So, laying over the fact that we've just been through a pandemic or are still within a pandemic space, both, watching it internationally and having experienced it within the country, those figures have changed a bit. We know that people have been really distressed this year. The demand to our helpline has increased significantly, and almost doubled. We've seen an increased number of supports that we've had to provide, and we've been so thankful to receive, support from the Commonwealth Government and our wonderful partners, the states and territories. But ultimately, those rates have blown out. We know that people are coming and calling us more and more as a result of not just their queries about how they're travelling in terms of their mental health and wellbeing, but also it's been exacerbated by a range of stresses, and they've included things like, partners being stood down, going on maternity leave and then all of a sudden they no longer have a job, general pressures around financial, wellbeing, general fears existentially about what kind of world am I bringing a baby into, they're really big fears for people. And if you've already got an existing vulnerability, you're moving people into a more heightened space. So this year we know that perinatal anxiety and depression rates across the country have increased.
And I think that's, with COVID, it's just going more and more. And I guess you're there to help them through that.
Yeah.
So I guess a little bit about Panda Week. So you're expecting that to come next week for us. So if you can tell us a bit about what is that for you and for the rest of us.
Most definitely. So, at Panda we're an advocacy agency, first and foremost. We're all about building a voice of people's struggles, but also their victories over their perinatal vulnerability. Panda Week's an important one for us though, because it's one where we actually get to amplify our voice. We work with our community, and our community isn't just people with lived experience, but it's also clinical community and people who work to support people every day. And they're amazing partners like Baby Bunting, who we do work with. It's very much about, without sounding strange, celebrating the fact that, people become really vulnerable in their parenting journey, but people also get through that and have amazing relationships with their children, with their families and beyond. So Panda Week's really important. It's about building the story around perinatal vulnerability. It's about getting people to understand the signs and symptoms so that they can understand it for themselves, but also for their loved ones or, the people they work with. It's about building the voice of the work that we as an organisation do and are so thankful to be doing for our community across the country. And it's also about talking about the amazing partnerships we've got and the fact that we actually can't do this work alone. We have to work within a community that cares, and whether they are organisations such as Baby Bunting, whether they are organisations that also deliver services and supports to community, whether they're research departments, we do amazing work. So Panda Week is so amazing to be able to talk about that really openly, and hopefully if, you know, one or two people can actually say, you know what, that's me, I'm struggling, we've won, it's golden.
And I think that's what it's about. It's about being open and honest and having people to be able to say, I'm struggling.
Yeah,
can you help
definitely.
me?
Yeah.
So I guess also tell us a little bit about Tell Someone Who Cares.
Yeah, look, we have, I have to say, we have the most amazing community of people that have had exposure to our services or know somebody who has, and have signed on to become a community champion. And everything we do at Panda is done in partnership with our champs, and with people with lived experience. And this year we did a whole lot of work in trying to work to understand what kind of voice people with lived experience of perinatal vulnerability wanted to have around this week. So we were talking to them and ran a series of groups where we actually said, what was it that you felt you were missing out on when you were struggling at that time? And for so many it was the fact that they just didn't know where to turn. They didn't know how to have a conversation. You know, they felt like they did, you know, the time wasn't right, or any of those things we juggle in every relationship. So this year they came up with a campaign which is Tell Somebody Who Cares. And, you know, it's an important one because it kind of becomes referential in terms of, you know, Panda have a helpline, and we hope to be somebody that cares for people. You know, whether you've got somebody in Baby Bunting that says at the checkout, hey, how you going? Are you okay? You know, you become somebody who cares. Or whether you're a loved one or a partner, you know, who's checking in with their spouse or whomever, you know, anyone can be somebody who cares. So this year, it's a great campaign. There's no wrong door in terms of telling somebody who cares or being somebody who cares, and we want to upskill everyone to be able to be the best they can be when somebody does say, hey, I'm having a rough trot.
So I guess what's your main focus for Panda Week?
Look, I think it's about trying to let people know that they can speak with authenticity around their experience. You know, I think every time we speak to people in our community, or I advocate in amazing forums like this, people often say, I didn't feel like I could just be myself, or I didn't feel like I could help the person that was saying to me that they were struggling. And what we really hope to achieve this year is that people can be their authentic selves. You know, as a society we have so many things we put in people's way to make them feel like, to be the best mum you need to look like this and be buying this and be achieving this and all of these things, and people just set themselves up for failure. So we want to be saying, if you feel like you're not travelling well, just call it. You know, just have that conversation, reach out. And if somebody says to you, I feel like I'm struggling, most of us go, what do I do? How do I fix them? And we want people to feel like you don't have to fix people. You know, you just have to be that ear and listen. You just have to be somebody that says, well, let's find the solution together. And for some, that's Panda. For others, it's one of our partner organisations or one of the, you know, many other helplines that are out there.
So I guess what are you wanting the country to do over Panda Week, and what can our audience do to help?
Yeah, most definitely. So I think first and foremost, share stories. So, you know, we again do a call out to everybody to get on social media, share stories, saturate the community with these real experience of what it was to be a mum or a dad or a carer or, you know, a child even of a parent. You know, it can be retrospective. Just giving as much, you know, amplification to the voice of what it is to be a parent in today's day and age. And, you know, that near enough is good enough concept and things. So there's getting involved at a local level, a community level. Whilst we have always, you know, delivered Panda Week and sought funding through fundraising, we know that the country's doing it really tough, and, you know, we would love people to be able to donate, but that's not what it's about for us. It's really about people feeling part of a community and a groundswell, feeling like they can share their story, doing work in partnership. You know, we're doing some amazing community events. So we've got an event that's running next week, which you can register for if you go online to the Panda website, which is panda.org.au. You can actually register for a community event, which is really about why near enough is good enough, you know, as a parent. And we've also got some health professional training events, which are also really important about bringing up the experience and skills of our health professionals so they can be somebody who cares when somebody comes to them. And ultimately just share stories.
So I guess what would you like the community to know about the challenges of being a parent and becoming a parent and living through it?
Are you asking me? No, you're not asking me as a mum.
And look, and nobody's perfect. I think that's
completely.
our thing, is that nobody's perfect, you know, and it's about just travelling that road to get you there.
Yep, most definitely. Look, parenting is a journey, as with anything, you know, and I think we often fall into the misguided belief that, you know, we can control things. And the reality is you can control about 20% of your daily life, whether it's your personal life or your working life or whatever. So I think if you keep it real and understand that, you know, trying to exert control is not going to, you know, get you anywhere, and the fact that near enough is good enough. You know, the more you can be yourself, the more you can let that stressor go. And when we get anxious, we get wound up like a rubber band. The more you can let that go so you don't feel like you're going to snap or dig yourself into a hole because you're feeling down and depressed, the more you can have a relationship with your child and those around you, you know. And I think that the more you say to yourself, I need to be this sort of person to be a good mum or a good dad, the more time you're spending in your head doing that than you are on the ground with your child. So I think first and foremost, no rules, near enough's good enough, you know, and just seek out support. You know, we have so many callers who ring us really distressed and they say, I didn't call because I didn't think my concerns were as bad as the next person. I wanted to keep the helpline for them. Nah, you know, we're there for everybody.
So I guess where can they reach, you know, these mums and dads, where can they reach out to if they are struggling with mental illness?
Yeah, look, there's a range of amazing services and supports that are out there. Panda is one of those. We are the nationally funded perinatal mental health service. We have the helpline that operates, at the moment we've got extended hours that we're very excited about. So we run Monday to Friday from 9am till 7:30pm Eastern Standard Time. And we also are open for Saturdays and public holidays at the moment for the next, I think, 18 weeks. We've got some Commonwealth funding for. And that, you know, the helpline is there. Again, you can ring up and speak to one of our telephone counsellors, which is really fantastic. The number for that is 1300 726 306. The other thing that you can do if you don't feel up to ringing the helpline, or really just want to do that kind of check-in first to see whether or not what you're feeling is something to be concerned about, is go online to our website, which is panda.org.au, and do the mental health checklist. So we have a mental health checklist for new, for expecting, mums, dads and carers. You can do that. It's a 30-question checklist that you can just do at any time. No one needs to know you're doing it, and it gives you a readout at the end that you can take to a GP or gives you some words to talk to somebody. But, you know, start the journey. Just acknowledging the flag is the first thing.
Are there any signs that, say, a partner could look for in their partner to sort of show that, you know, look, we went in there, we were expecting this baby, you know, with our highest hopes, and I can just see that they're maybe not coping. Are there any signs that they could look for?
Look, I think saying that there's a particular thing to look for is the wrong thing for us to focus on. Ultimately, you know, it's trusting that gut. And it's not usually about something you can verbalise it. It's just feeling that something's off. And I think that often people can get a bit misguided into saying, I'm listening for language or I'm looking for a particular way of being. It's really just about saying, hey, something's going on here and that's enough, you know, or, you know, so-and-so's not reacting the same way they normally would, or they've disengaged from things. And we know that for people with anxiety and depression, you know, they're really disengaging from the things that they would normally do. They're not able to eat or sleep, or perhaps they're eating or sleeping too much, not able to sleep when the bub's sleeping. So there are all these little indicators, but it's just that flag. And for some it's a mind thing, for some it's a gut thing, you know, and you just got to trust it and act on it.
And I guess it's just knowing your partner or knowing your loved one. Just sit there and just be able to be open.
Yeah, and trusting that's really hard. So we know that when you become a parent, you start to question whether it's a first bub or a second bub or a third bub. You question all of those things that you used to trust in, you know, all that what if, and what if I do the wrong thing and maybe I'm not. That starts to erode your confidence, and for most that happens just in the moment and then you build it back up. And that's hard because then you're not trusting that gut flag when you're thinking, oh, hang on, my husband's not dealing with this as well as he normally would, or he's not bounced back. So you kind of say, oh no, I'm probably just worried about it because I've got a new bub. But in fact, it's an important, flag that you've just acknowledged. So I think trusting in that's important.
So what does the future look for Panda, from here and next week and beyond?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a great question because, of course, as CEO, I would say that I want us to continue to grow, continue to be able to do amazing work in partnership, but also, just service and support more and more people. But thankfully, that's also mirrored by our callers, and the people who use our services. And for many of them, they're really starting to say, we do want more. We wish Panda had been there, at 2 a.m. on a Friday, morning when everyone else was asleep. Or, we really do wish that we could actually give hubby the baby on the weekend and say, I'm going to call Panda. But unfortunately, we're a Monday to Friday service. So we'd love to be able to expand services. We'd be love to be able to do more.
But I think you're doing, what you've got at the moment is what you can do.
Most definitely.
And I think that support to those new and expecting parents, you're there Monday to Friday. And I think it's the one thing to say, reach out.
Yep.
If you need that help, just pop on, have a call, have a chat to someone, jump on the website.
Most definitely.
But there will be someone there for that majority of the time to help you.
And engage with social media. We've got some great stories and pieces that run through our Instagram and, Facebook groups. And we know that people really love and feel a sense of connectivity to a community through reading those posts. So, I think that's another way to do it.
And I think it's being about able to give yourself a voice, even if it's from a past experience that you're able to speak about it after, whether that be on one of your posts or to reach out and say, hey, I've been through this, can I come and volunteer with you?
Most definitely. Yeah, look, we love it. We have a great range, as I said. We've got about 340 community champions. We value them so greatly. Some provide support with, different activities or sit on advisory groups. The community's just supported our submission to the Victorian Royal Commission into mental health services. Such an amazing experience to be able to bring people with true lived experience on that journey to start to shape health systems, including ours. So it's wonderful.
Now, I want to thank you so much for coming, Julie, tonight. Thank you to our audience. And please, if you do feel that you need to reach out for help, reach out to Panda. They've got their helpline, they've got their website. There are many other services available as well. But just sit there and take it, in your stride that there are people there to help you. Everybody's out there to try and make sure that you do get through this and you're supported. Because it is an amazing journey, but it can also be one of the most challenging journeys of your life. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you everybody, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.